Hey everyone, and welcome to the shop. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you have your notifications on, and do not miss next week's video because it's the first build video here on the channel. For the past couple of years, I've been doing all my woodworking in a driveway, small basements, which, you know, the ceiling height makes, I'm small, so it doesn't really matter, but it makes it tough. And last time it was in our garage. But now we have this amazing building that sits just on over 10 acres. Let me tell you, the grass takes forever to cut. But we've been improving this back half of this building over the past 7 to 8 months. It's been a challenge, ripping out tons of insulation, drywall, old drywall, getting rid of bats. Yeah, it was disgusting. But we are finally ready, so let's go ahead and check out the shop. Here at the heart of the shop, what we have is our outfeed table. This thing is a beast. The reason why that I have this huge outfeed table is because I do a lot of cabinetry. And so I need to be able to support my piece as I'm pushing it through the table saw. So having a table that is 4 feet wide by 8 feet long to be able to handle those sheet goods is super important for me in my shop. You know, it sits just lower than the table saw surface. So that way I have no issues. But I ended up getting this idea, this table build, this outfeed table from April Wilkerson. She's an amazing woodworker. So if you have the space in your shop and you're looking for something this big, go ahead and build it. But I'll go ahead and put a link in the description to our channel and to this build. But seriously, you guys, she has some amazing builds. Go check out our channel. And so yeah, we have our outfeed table. And then, so let's go ahead and check out the table saw. Guys, if you are looking for a used table saw, Facebook Marketplace by far is the best place for you to look. I ended up getting this guy right here for 550 bucks. Right here, this is like a $3 table saw if you bought it brand new. So I ended up getting this thing for 550 bucks. I love it. I love the huge rip capacity. I cannot complain because I work with cabinets and do a lot of cabinetry. So I love it. You know, I ended up, they did not have the throw plate insert, but I just bought this insert, did a little bit of sanding on the top, make it clean, and add a little bit of glide coat, and it works flawlessly. Besides this, the most other used items that I use is the joiner and planer. So let's go ahead and check it out. And on this side of the shop, we have the joiner. This is the first tool on this side, and this is, once again, another Facebook special that I got for about $1,000. It is a 8-inch Powermatic straight blade. Technically you can add helical heads and upgrade the head unit, just haven't yet. But you know, when it comes to making things square, it's absolutely awesome. I love it. It has sped my workflow up tremendously. You don't need a joiner because you can do it on the table saw. There's ways to do planing as well. But you know, this has just sped up my workflow tremendously. So I love having it in the shop. So you know, once I take boards like this and I square them up, I typically stick them in the planer. By the way, these boards right here, step stool. Do you know why we're doing a step stool? Because my son's going through body training, and he needs to get up on that toilet. So yeah. So after, you know, I make all my edges square, what I do is I typically bring it over here to the planer. So when you go ahead and, you know, just jump over me and end up on the other side. And right here we have the DeWalt DW735. This thing is amazing when it comes to just, you know, making sure the thickness is spot on. I've had 0 issues with this. This is actually the straight cut right now. Like I said, none of my machines, the planer or joiner, are helical heads. They're straight blades. I hadn't had any issues, but eventually, like I said, I probably will end up upgrading to a helical head. But the cheaper version of this DeWalt, I absolutely hated. I had it before. I didn't like it. But the design, I love how beefy this thing is. That it actually came with this stand right here. But I love it. You know, it spits out tons and tons of chips. Anyone that has a planer knows it spits tons of chips. And you can see that I actually don't have dust collection going to it right now. I have a mobile unit that I use for vacuuming up the shop when I clean up every day at the end of the day. So I actually end up hooking, when I'm using this or the joiner, I end up hooking it up there. The drill press right here is the first tool that we have along this whole entire wall. It's a porta cable, it's belt driven. There's nothing super fancy about it or anything that makes it special. We didn't want to spend the extra money to get a fancy one. But, you know, it does have a light, you know, when I need to get extra precision or need that little bit extra light, it does help. It has a laser guide, which this thing is dead accurate. I've had zero discrepancy. You know, when I go to bring this down on my workpiece, that laser is dead on. Well, this is the second tool. It's our bandsaw. It's a Laguna 1412. It's absolutely amazing. I've not gotten a lot of chance to work with it yet. It's brand new to the shop, and I've never worked with a bandsaw of this capacity before. So it's fairly nice. Right now we have a thin blade because we're making these right here. They just slip under a door frame because we messed up and installed some doors that were too high off the ground. So anyways, we're just making some spacers to kind of fill that gap. But this thing, you know, when you're resawing, it has a 14-inch rip capacity. Well, resaw capacity, not rip, resaw capacity. And I've gotten a chance to resaw a little bit, and it cuts through stuff like butter, and I am happy to say so. But on this Laguna, I ended up splurging for the light. I didn't know if I would use it a lot, but I find myself using a lot more than what I thought, just to make sure I'm dead on with my line. So it's really nice to have, and then I got a mobile base because in my shop, everything has to be mobile. The last piece of equipment that we have on this side of the shop is our Grizzly 2 horsepower dust collector. As you can see, we haven't ran it. It's because we're waiting on some fittings and they're taking forever. But once we do get those in, we're planning on doing a video on how we're gonna run all our dust collection pipes, make sure everything is piped in, because like I said, the joiner, planer, it kicks out a lot of dust, and we want to make sure that all gets here so it's not laying all over the floor. One thing that when I was looking for a dust collector, I wanted something with a filter on top, just because I know it cleans better. It'll help pull some of the really fine dust particles. I like that it has a feature where you can kind of make sure that it stays clean. One thing that I have to say is making sure your shop is clean and tidy is very important to me and should be to you. Because a tidy shop means you're running more efficiently. So, you know, every day, my day ends at 5. So I cut off a half hour early, you know, at 4:30. Make sure everything gets put away, everything gets cleaned up, everything gets swept. Or, you know, for me, what I do is I end up taking the portable dust collector and I vacuum the entire shop. That's the whole entire this side of the shop. So why don't we go ahead and jump over to the other side where the miter saw station is. This miter saw station right here takes up almost half of this whole entire wall on this side of the shop. You know, I ended up putting it's just a little bit over 11 feet on this side, 6 feet on that side, just so that way you can make long cuts. You know, some of the boards that I have to cut, I do have to cut fairly long, so I wanted that flexibility to do so. I ended up adding a T-track. Here it's epoxied in with a tape and a movable stock block, so I can just go ahead, you know, when I need to make repeatable cuts, go ahead and set it. Right here we have the 12-inch Bosch sliding miter saw. It's absolutely amazing. One of the reasons why I went with this one from the old one that I had is because the old one has those rods, and so you have to sit further away from the wall. This one sits right flush, and I like that I have, my last one was a 10-inch. I'm so glad that I have a 12 now. And right behind that, I actually have 2 dust collection ports, one on each side. And I absolutely love it. It's something that, you know, when I have to deal with cleaning up, I just sweep whatever dust is there and I just sweep it back and turn on the dust collector, which right here, I didn't do it on our table saw, but I have it on the table saw and the miter saw. Right here, I can end up pressing this remote right here and turn on the dust collection. So I make sure I have all dust collection where I can easily turn it on and off. And that dust collection port right here is down here. It's a single stage one. It's tucked away. Eventually I will add doors onto here, just haven't yet. Just like I didn't finish down there yet. But why don't we go ahead and check out the amplifier that we have down there. Right under the miter saw station, we have an amplifier that goes to the speakers. So that way I can listen to podcasts, I can listen to TV, because I have a TV right there. So I like watching TV when I'm doing tedious tasks. But mainly this thing is used for music because I love to have dance parties! Hit it! But seriously, I listen to music way too loud. You can ask my wife. I'm partially deaf. She yells at me all the time. I love listening to music, so I have this thing. It's pretty much going all the time. It hooks up directly to my phone via Bluetooth, so I don't have to come over here or change something. It's nice to have. And then over here, right next to the miter saw station on this wall, we have the clamp rack. This clamp rack is amazing. I got the idea for April Wilkerson once again. She built it on her channel. She didn't actually make the build plans, so I'll go ahead and link those below. But this pretty much holds all my F-style clamps. My parallel clamps are in the corner hanging up on the wall because I got all these clamps right here that you see and the ones that are on the wall over there. I got those from someone that was selling it, once again, on Facebook. But they're too big for this rack just because they're longer parallel clamps. So I have all my F-style clamps up here, and then eventually the glues will go here. I have the bandy clamps for when I do edge banding or real wood edge banding, and I need a good grip. Use that, and then I have my shop apron that I got from Jonathan Katz Moses, just sitting over there, and then right there's the TV, and then the toolbox that holds all my tools that I need to charge, etc., etc. Right here to the entrance of the shop is probably the most important items you should have in your shop. It's safety equipment, which are in these cabinets, like eye protection and ear protection. You should always have those things, and then you should always have a fully stocked first aid kit in the shop. You never know what's going to happen. Accidents happen even to the best of us, so you'll want to be prepared. I make sure it's easy accessible so I can do it with one hand. Everything is right there, ready to go. And then also I have a fire extinguisher right here. It's because you never know. If a fire does happen in the shop, something happens, you are around a bunch of wood. So you want to make sure that you have something that you can easily grab and put out a fire just in case it does happen. And then the last thing we have at the entrance is our startup and shutdown procedures. This sheet right here, I have them on actually every single piece of equipment. You didn't see that because I took them off, but I have startup and shutdown procedures for every machine, just like the shop though. When I get here, I make sure I hit the lights, which are right there. I hit the air filters. I make sure the AC goes on because I don't keep the shop cool, that cool during the day. And so just want to make sure the AC is on when I get in. And then after those things done, when I shut down, make sure I do the reverse order. Make sure everything goes off, the shop is clean, and then I can head out for the day. That's it for the shop tour. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you come back next week. We have our first build video here on the channel, so make sure you come back next week and don't miss it. As always, stay connected, keep building, and stay safe in the shop.